I'm extremely pleased to announce that this year's recipient of the Phillip R. Barnes Award is to Bonnie Boyd. Since Bonnie's already on the podium, let me try to get through the rest of it. She is a past president of the Ohio Association of Realtors and the Lake and Jaga Association of Realtors, and has served as chairman of numerous OAR and local board committees. She has been the real estate professional for many years and has dedicated her career to improving the real estate industry and profession for all of us. Bonnie, as always, has been a strong supporter of RPAC, and for several years she has contributed to RPAC as the Golden R level. She's also a member of the NAR RPAC Hall of Fame. Over the years, Bonnie has truly led by example on the importance of RPAC. Congratulations, Bonnie.
I'm speechless. It is unusual. I played golf in a foursome with Phil just before he passed away. And I was running for treasurer, and he said, you know, Bonnie, he said, you need to really pay attention, because it'll be over in a blink of an eye. And honestly, it feels like a blink of an eye when you think about it. But he was an awesome gentleman, and I'm so honored to receive this, and I thank you so much. Several years ago, our industry lost one of the profession's true giants with the passing of Vincent T. Vince, who had served as president of the Ohio Association of Realtors in 1980, in partnership with his brother Joe, built one of this industry's most successful real estate companies. The Vincent T. Aveni Lifetime Achievement Award, created by our past president's committee, is bestowed upon a past president who has demonstrated continued commitment to the same values and passion for excellence that Vince displayed throughout his life. Today we honor George Smith.
God, at my age, I can't stand many of these. But I've never approached a mic without having some notes inside, and I feel naked. This is not a George Smith Award. This is in memory of Vince Aveni, one of the true giants of our industry. I've had the pleasure of knowing Vince for a long, long time. We were real close. We had a lot in common. His wife and my wife, first wife, both died very close, and we sort of bummed around together for a couple of years before he got smart and got remarried. He urged me to do the same, and I said, never, Vince, never, which proves that Vince was the leader, and I was the follower. But, you know, I got to take a minute or two. This organization's had some giant leaders in the real estate industry. And the interesting thing about them all, I go back to when you get as old as I am. Well, Ronald Reagan and I was in school together, so it gives you an idea. But, you know, John Galbraith, a giant, not only in Columbus, Ohio, and the world, because John was one of the original U.S. guys, after building some skyscrapers in New York City, to go to Singapore and those places in China, and then Mr. Galbraith and the Columbus Board, we had our offices in the same building many years ago at 42 East Gay Street. And, we bumped into each other. And the thing about Mr. Galbraith was he was always a realtor. And then he was a successful businessman after that. And he had an uncanny ability to understand and know people. My buddy, Hardy Ruda, same thing. Hardy started in his basement. Then he discovered me. No, that's not true. But at Hardy, because he too was a realtor first and a businessman later, and very, very successful. Both of them leaders of the National Association. Vince was never president of NAR, but he could have been, and perhaps he should have been. But Vince was always willing to serve in the trenches and do the things that other people probably didn't want to do. And that is a mark of leader. Vince told me many, many times about how happy he was to put this deal together and that deal together. And I'm talking about, back in those days, small deals. And then Vince became, as you know, very successful, but you never recognize it. Vince was a humble man. And I will always love Vince Aveni, and of course Pat, his wife, and Joe. And I remember when Vince had one of his first dates with Pat. It was at Disney World, in the NAR meeting or something, and he was telling me about it later. And she was working for NAR at the time, I might add, which shows that staff members are always at risk. But Vince, there's a building there. What is that? The main building that is always on all the Walt Disney ads and so on. What is it? The castle. Shows how old I am. But they've got a fine glass shop in the back of the castle where they sell glass, and Vince and I have always loved glass. But he told me, he said, you know, I asked Pat, or said to her, if you'd like to have a little memento of our first encounter together, I'll buy you whatever you want. But Pat very wisely said, no, thanks, I don't want any. It costs too much. And Vince was proud of that. He said to me, he said, you know, so she didn't think a thing. And I said, well, hell, Vince. Heck, Vince. You know, if you two ever get together, you can buy Disneyland. Don't and they finally got married, and Vince went on again to become very successful. I, at one time, had a medical problem down in Florida, and they thought I had a heart attack and I was going to die. You folks weren't lucky enough. But, and they flew me from Marco Island up to the hospital, and they had me all, put all the stuff on in EOP, whatever it's called, emergency room, or something. And when I woke up that afternoon, Vince Aveni was standing there because he heard that I was ill, and he come and wanted to make sure that I got better. We can go on. Chet Sudbrack, Cincinnati. You know, but the thing I want you all to remember, maybe they all can't be a Galbraith, a Ruda, a Aveni, but just pick out some of the things that made them leaders in their field and use that as part of your life, so that when you go to bed tonight, you can say, would Vince be proud of me? And if the answer is yes, you will be successful. And if the answer isn't yes, try again tomorrow, because for every day you miss a day of happiness and production. Let's all do what we have to do and care about each other. We care about our industry, we care about our communities, and we should care about each other. And with that, I'll be forever grateful.